Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from Skiessentials.com.
I'm Bob. How's it going?
Bob and I are here today to talk about another new Core 99 from Head.
Yeah, pretty strange. You know, they went unchanged for years since this thing came out. I think it was 1819.
Yep, I think you're right.
And then last year they went to this model.
Yep.
Changed a few things, the sizes and a little bit of construction alteration.
Yep.
And then, you know, in kind of a rare turn of events, we get yet a newer model for just 1 year later. Normally these things don't turn that quick, so it's.
Yep.
I think it's worth a discussion.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's kind of cool because realistically these two skis are very similar, which
Yep.
we'll kind of get more into. But the changes that they made to this one feel like Head was really listening to the market.
Yeah.
And listening to what people liked and what some people maybe didn't like as much about that ski.
Yeah.
And kind of addressed those things with this ski.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool. You know, I think it's awesome when a company, when it's noticeable and obvious that a company is responding to consumer feedback.
Right.
Rather than like, we've been in the lab with our athletes for 5 years and here's this new ski.
Right.
So a couple, slightly different development story.
Right. Just showing that like a company can do a subtle tweak or a subtle change, even within just a year.
Yep. We did do a full review of that ski.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like yesterday.
Right.
I remember, I have vivid memories of skiing that thing. I know exactly the terrain I skied on that
Yep.
ski. Interestingly, we skied really similar terrain on
Right.
these. Kind of swapped though. You were in the trees more than me.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen that, you could go back and watch that one. We'll probably say a lot of similar things, but I feel like Bob and I have kind of some updated thoughts on this ski,
Yeah.
which we'll share towards the end of the video. But Bob, do you want to kind of, as a refresher for people that either know about that ski or people that are new to the cores in general, do you want to kind of walk us through construction, and I'll give you this 2023 model
Right.
to
Just
do
I'm
so.
talking about this one. Yeah. Most of the same things carry through in terms of overall construction. We still have a Karuba wood core. We have on the bottom of that core, there is a layer of fiberglass and a full layer of carbon. And then on the top of the wood core, there is another layer of fiberglass and another layer of carbon. The interesting thing about the way that they do it in the core skis is that they curve it to match the chamfer of the edge. So they have this rounded top part above the sidewall.
Really not a term that's used often in ski construction.
Nope, and I had to ask you what it was before I looked it up. And basically it's just this curved section that goes from the flat top down to the vertical sidewall.
It made me feel momentarily very smart.
It's a good
when
word
you had
to know.
Ask me a vocabulary word.
If it was 5 letters, it would be a great Wordle word.
It would.
But, oh well. But at any rate, that carbon and fiberglass is curved to match that. And we've talked about this before. Anytime those materials are used in a 3-dimensional application, it really adds to the stiffness of those materials.
Yep.
So what you end up with on this ski with the 2 sheets of carbon, the 1 curved sheet, the 2 layers of fiberglass, the 1 curved layer of fiberglass, and then a graphene strip. So graphene is incredibly light and stiff material.
Lightest and strongest material in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Correct?
Yeah, they just have like all sorts of stats on how light
Yeah.
and strong
It's
graphene
used
is.
in all sorts of crazy stuff
Yeah.
too. So go down the rabbit hole in the Google search for
Right.
graphene.
Uses of graphene. But all of those things combined make this, the stiffest hand flexing ski likely in our warehouse, I would say. When we did the around 100 millimeter comparison review and organized them by stiffness, this one was on this side of the wall as the stiffest ski in that group. And that's among skis with multiple sheets of metal. So it really makes this thing stick out in this group in terms of stiffness.
Yeah, when we did another comparison that was like lightest to heaviest, and whatever core that was in that was on the left side of the
Right.
wall as lightest.
Yep.
So that was really interesting that it sat on opposite ends of the wall
Right.
based on how we were organizing.
And there are lighter skis that use carbon, like an Enforcer 94 Unlimited comes to mind as like
Sure.
a similar, style of ski, but using that carbon to get the stiffness and the performance. This one measured a little earlier was like 1720, 1730 grams in the 177 here. So, it's not like a featherweight 1400, 1500 gram ski, nor is it, north of 2000 like an Enforcer 100 with the metal or anything like that.
Right.
And that's kind of where this ski is aiming at, is that Enforcer 100, that high performance all mountain ski, around 100 millimeters. So if you're getting the added stiffness of the carbon and the fiberglass and the graphene, while taking 300 grams off the top, like there's definitely something to be talked about there.
Yeah.
In terms of how it relates to performance.
Yeah. Now weight, we were weighing last year's ski compared to this year's ski before we started filming. Weight has stayed just about the same.
Yep.
Now what is different about this year's ski compared to that pair that you're standing next to?
Very few things, Jeff. There's this top sheet. So for years, Headcore has relied on a polyester top sheet, which kind of was built into the ski and didn't really do a whole lot for the damping of the feel.
Yep.
Now they're moving into this more just a traditional, more plastic top sheet. I think we both felt that difference just in terms of
Definitely.
how the ski sounded and how it felt on your feet.
Yeah, it probably helped that our first day on cores this year in general, not just the 99, but the rest of the line too, it was really cold and pretty firm. And I think across the board, everybody that we had on snow that day that got on a core noticed the difference in vibration damping just by adding a top sheet, which is pretty cool.
And then the other really cool thing that they did was they colored one side of the sidewall, but not the other. And I have Big change. We were joking on the lift today, like I would have liked to have been in the room for that conversation where the designers came in and said, all right, one sidewall red, one sidewall black.
Yeah.
So
guys, we got this idea.
Yeah. I don't think that it does anything for how the ski feels or skis, but.
No, the only thing that I noticed is if I'm looking at photos that were taken of a skier's right side, it is harder for me to differentiate which core they're on because the sidewall is black.
Thanks, Ed.
These are complaints that I think only people that work in media have. But no, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
So that's a great recap of construction. That new top sheet is really like the only major difference.
Right.
I don't think dual colored sidewalls is changing performance at all.
No, but it's fun to talk about.
It's certainly fun to talk about. And quick note on shape. Shape has stayed exactly the same.
Yep. 99 underfoot.
Yep.
This is the 177. They do change per length. So when you go up to the 184, you're looking at a 101.
I thought that was interesting that it goes all the way to 101.
Yep. And then same thing down. If you go to the 170, it goes to a 97.
Yep.
So that reference length, if you're familiar with the Core Women's Series, now they're calling this the Core 97W. So it's just calling it what it is in the reference length.
Yep.
And the reference length does change per width of the Core skis. So like the 105 has a reference length of 184, whereas this one's the 177. So just a few little numbers, things that you got to keep track of. If you're looking for a shorter version of this ski, you do have to keep in mind that it will go down. Like the 163 is even a 95 underfoot. So
correct.
They do that in order to keep the turn radius roughly the same. So
and overall performance.
the overall feel of the ski. If you went super short but still kept this 99 underfoot, it would have a much different feel than if you bumped it down to 95.
Keeping the same kind of ratio of tip to waist to tail. Yeah,
and trying to keep that. This is a 17 meter turn radius in this ski, so they're trying to keep it similar to that. It won't be exact, but it's close.
Yep. So that's about it for construction and shape. We already talked a little bit about how it feels, just in the sense that this new ski does have more vibration damping. I think it's noticeable. It might not be like a huge difference between the two,
right?
But it's certainly noticeable. So kind of piggybacking off of that, Bob, I thought we could just start with everything that we really like about it.
Sure.
So why don't you start, and then I'll kind of add in what I think, and then we can kind of talk about the gap that we kind of are feeling in this application.
Right.
Not necessarily the ski's performance, but who's going to be skiing it.
Right. And I think just to start, we kind of have always talked about these core skis as a good option for lighter weight skiers who may not be able either have the technique or the mass to flex this stiffness. And I think we've kind of softened that stance, or at least kind of altered it to say, well, a heavier skier or someone with good technique can also bend this thing. You don't have to be a lighter skier that just prefers shallower edge angles.
Correct.
So I'm learning that as a bigger skier, I like this more than I think that I should. You know, like just based on hand flexing it, I'm like, that's kind of a strange combination of lightweight and stiffness. But when I get on it, 225 pounds, and I push forward in my boot, this thing hooks up and comes around the turn pretty darn cleanly.
Yep.
Like I can bend this ski, and I really enjoy it. On the groomers, with that shorter turn radius, it really just kind of flows through the turns. I feel like I can get it up on a high edge angle and be confident with it. And because I'm bending it, I don't get a jittery feeling out of it. I think that that's kind of maybe a complaint that we've heard about these skis over the years, is that because the combination of lightweight and stiffness, they can get a little jittery. But if you have this thing bent and up on edge, it does not behave that way.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I can see it when I'm following you with a camera. Like the way that the ski is interacting with the snow and how you look on this ski, you look very, very smooth.
Yeah.
Which, I think it's fair to say that smooth is not an adjective that historically we have used to describe this ski.
Right.
So I think it's a combination of adding this top sheet, it is getting more vibration damping, and just spending more time on them.
Right.
And kind of learning the capabilities of this ski. And yeah, just watching you in particular, it looks very, very smooth. It doesn't look harsh on a groomer or anything like that. It looks like you can push and push and push, and the ski is smooth and responsive and agile and fun.
No, even back when I first got in this thing in 2018, the old construction, I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
What a refreshing and unique feel to this ski.
Right.
Just popping out of the turns, you can really get the energy out of it.
Yeah, ton of snap, out of the tail especially.
And because it's not heavy, it doesn't really require, that much effort. You can stand on it, but you don't have to.
Yep.
And then, similar experience in the trees or in softer snow, my goodness, I thought that this stiff ski was going to dive. I thought that it wasn't going to have the compliance. But the combination of this nice tapered shape in the tail and that light weight does make it float pretty well. It's not the best, it's not a super playful, Bent Chetler 100 type of feel. But when you have this shape combined with the weight and you're able to maneuver it, it's just an absolute blast. Whether it's fresh snow or kind of packed out in the woods, I had a blast on this thing.
Yeah, super, super quick in the woods. For me, I feel just the benefit of the low swing weight more than anything else. And I remember having this exact same conversation with the 2022 model. If you're active and engaged and you put the ski where you want the ski to go, it goes there immediately, which is a really rewarding skiing experience.
Yeah, and I guess I can talk about the mogul experience now.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think that's a good time, and then I'll kind of give my thoughts on how I feel on it. Yeah,
that's kind of the only other spot where I'm looking for performance in a ski is through the bumps. With this thing, the softer the better. Wider, lower, softer moguls, no problems whatsoever. It's a direct correlation to how much tighter and firmer the moguls get to the harsher experience.
Yeah.
Putting this shovel into the tip of a frozen mogul is quite a jarring experience.
Yeah.
So, definitely not for that aggressive mogul skier and firm moguls who likes to take a direct line, such as myself, but someone who's making, more moseying turns.
More rounder turns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doing some traversing and turning and, definitely a more mellow mogul ski application.
Or windshield wiper technique like you were describing my mogul skiing a couple weeks ago.
No, great windshield wiper ski.
Yeah.
Because of that swing weight, because of the grip, you don't want to drive the front of this thing into the front of a mogul.
Well, and like you said, there aren't too many people that are skiing zipper line style moguls just smashing their tip into the front of a mogul.
That the moguls are that
Right.
consistency. You know,
Right.
it's not.
If you live out west and you got nice soft moguls,
Yeah.
this is not a concern.
No, this is
whatsoever.
certainly a New England concern.
Yeah.
I would say it's very centric to icier locations.
Yep. Now, I'd say my experience on them is similar but different at the same time. I'm a good, 70 pounds lighter than you?
Yep.
And I think there's like, there is a difference in how this ski reacts to skier weight. And I think the biggest thing that I kept coming back to, and even like as I was prepping the video that you guys are watching now, it even looked dependent on snow conditions. So if I had like nice firm groomers, this thing rips.
Yeah.
I love skiing it. You can put like, I can get a super high edge angle and push on it as hard as I want. Like really like ski to my, like the maximum level of my ski ability. And the ski is really rewarding.
Yeah.
As soon as the snow got a little softer on a groomer, what I was experiencing is when I wanted to carve, I didn't have enough weight to get the ski to bend, and then like my technique kind of, it's not like it didn't matter anymore, but it didn't matter as much because the snow wasn't firm enough to push against. So if I could, if I was trying to generate like enough G-forces with my technique to get the ski to bend, then it would push the snow away. So it's like this weird thing where it's super rewarding on certain snow conditions for me. On other snow conditions, all of a sudden I feel like I have to be really delicate and balanced. And I think that's kind of where that gap that we were referring to is coming from, is skier weight.
Yeah.
I think if you're a skier that's around my size and you're still like learning those techniques to generate a high edge angle, it might not be the best ski. But specifically if you're trying to achieve those higher edge angles and like you want to carve. If you're a lighter weight skier and your skiing style, your preferred way of skiing is more upright with a lower edge angle and more kind of flicky and steery, it's great.
Right.
So there's just like that one little thing in the middle there where if you're a lighter skier and you're skiing soft snow, or you don't have like that necessary level of ability or technique, then I think that's the skier that it might not work well for.
Right. It certainly rewards good technique.
Rewards good technique or a heavier skier, I think.
Yeah, and if the combination of the two, like if you're a heavy skier with good technique, I think that you really enjoy this.
Perfect. Yeah. Which is like weirdly counterintuitive to it being so light.
And kind of our original hypothesis on the core series when they came out 4 years ago.
100%. I remember standing here and saying, like, if you're a heavier skier, get an Enforcer 93. If you're a lighter skier, get a Core 93.
Yeah.
And whatever, 5 years later, I don't think that tells the whole story.
Right.
And I think it's just taken more time on these skis, and as the ski has evolved too, we're starting to learn those things.
Yeah.
It's still like, I don't mean any of this like in a negative. I think it's just pointing out like the best application for this ski.
Yeah.
Like if you're like me, if you're my size, you might want to consider something that with a softer flex pattern, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So, sometimes when we don't just say 100% positive things about a ski, it feels like it's coming across as really negative, but I don't mean to be negative about this ski at all.
No, and we've had a few reviews lately where we've had different experiences on skis.
Yeah, and I think this is one of them.
And this is one of them, where just the way that we are built and the way that we push forward in our boots is vastly different.
Right.
And, having this ski kind of magnify those differences.
Right.
And that's one of the more interesting things about these core skis. Is
Totally.
They kind of magnify,
Totally.
Whatever type of performance you're going to get. The combination of the lightweight and the stiff flex is totally unique.
Yeah.
And there's not much else out there like it.
Yeah, and I'll add to my experience on them. Like, I have had some of my most rewarding turns of the entire season on this ski.
Yep.
I needed the right snow conditions to really feel like I could push the ski to its limits.
Yep.
Or push it to not its limits, but push it to the point where it really started to sing.
Yeah, and like, I think we talked about this before, like, I don't want to like this because I think it has a funky combination.
Sure.
But when I get on it, my reality is so much different than
Your perception.
my perception of what
Yeah.
it was. So, it's definitely kind of a try before you buy type of thing, I would say.
If you can, yeah.
If you
sure,
can.
yeah.
But also just knowing that what you feel in your hands and in your flex doesn't always correlate directly to what you're going to feel on your feet.
Yeah. I was reading through a forum the other day, and it was talking about ski weights and stuff like that, and somebody was saying a lightweight ski that, especially one that's stiff, is always going to like get deflected and stuff like that. And there's some truth to that. If you're like, or it's like pingy or something like that. I think about like if you get in the back seat in like firm technical terrain on this ski, it's not going to feel great.
No.
But they've certainly and I think if you're the type of person with that thought process, like a light stiff ski is always going to be pingy, that's fine. There's still truth to that, but they certainly have done a really good job making it the least pingy that they can, I think. And I think this new version's definitely the best yet.
Yeah, no, I think this thing rips. I just have an absolute great time on this, and really any conditions in terrain except for rock hard icy moguls that are closely spaced together.
Right.
So.
Or if you're a lightweight skier on softer snow and you want to carve.
Yeah.
So like just two things.
Two little gaps.
Which isn't bad at all.
No, not at all.
So that's it. That's the new Core 99 from Head for 2023. As always, let us know if you have any questions about it. It is a pretty interesting ski, as we have said probably multiple times.
Yep.
So perfectly happy to field any questions that you might have about it. And yeah, we've been skiing the other cores too. I was on we both were on the 105 momentarily this morning. So we got more to talk about throughout the summer.
And interestingly, I feel like you like the wider cores and I prefer the narrower ones.
I was thinking about asking what your favorite core is, and I think it's this one.
I think it's this one, but the 93 is a close second.
Mine's either 99 or 111.
You just skip the 105.
I like the 105 too, but the 111's sweet because
Yeah.
it turns into like more of a kind of twin rocker type thing.
Yeah.
So that's it. Let us know if you have any questions, and we will see you out there on the hill.
Bye.